Thank you for being here. We all know that our the expert speak session by Plan to Win happens every Saturday morning. And for those of you, again, I'm seeing many new people. Plan to Win program is a life management system that will give you not only strategies and techniques, but the attitude you need to make it in your life, make most of your life, of your precious time. It moves you towards creating and realizing your goals. Our final upcoming session on planning to win 2022 and the goal setting session is coming up on this Sunday evening. For more details, you have to stay tuned till the end, which I'm sure you all do. Today's session, I'm sure you have, some of you have attended the last part one. We all like being healthy and fit. We are what we eat. The last session by also shared with us. Can somebody go on mute? There's a lot of noise in the background. Shalaka, can you just help with that? Okay. Jaisa ann vaisa man. Thought is a nourishment as well. This is what was a takeaway among so many other things. And a healthy diet is an important cornerstone of good health. But do you know that what is right for your body, and body being a reflection of the season outside? And do you know what is the relation between the food we consume and the festivals we have and many other things? So good. Welcome again to the expert speak session on part 2 of Yuktahar. Last time we learned about know your food and know yourself. We learned about samyak charitra, ahar, vichar and achar. Also flavors that we consume in every diet. This session, we dig deeper into appropriate food and eating as per your season. I'm your host and Plan to Win super leader Gitanjali Kasliwal, and today we are very happy to have once again this multifaceted personality with us, Ruchita Rane. Ruchita Rane is a passionate nutritional consultant and a counselor. She is a multi-disciplinarian with an M.Phil in education, master's in Sanskrit with specialization in Vedanta, master's in biochemistry with specialization in food and nutrition, P.G Diploma in business management, B.Ed, P.G Diploma in Comparative Mythology, Diplomas in Yoga, Ayurved, Policy Studies, Manuscriptology, Counselling and Bharatanatyam, and is currently working towards her PhD. She's a gold medalist in Sanskrit and is the recipient of the prestigious Jagannath Shankar Seth Scholarship. She has authored help books and created 4,000 modules, over 4,000 modules of digital learning material for Sanskrit for educational institutions. She's an independent researcher, conducts experiential learning workshops and motivational lectures for adolescents. She conducts courses on Yuktahar and holistic being, engages in dialogue with youth to motivate them for understanding food holistically and bettering approach to food and healthy living. As part of her work, she's working on a project pertaining to enhancing the socio-economic growth and development of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Ruchita ji, we are so honored and lucky to have you once again and your continued association with us. Over to you. Please enlighten us about this. Let's dig deeper into the topic.
Good morning, namaste, and thank you so much, Gitanjali ji, for the kind introduction. I'm extremely grateful to Plan to Win for inviting me to this on this session on this platform yet again, and I think it is my honor and privilege to be interacting with so many of you on this platform and otherwise. Thank you so much, and thank you for Gitanjali ji for putting together some of the learnings from last time. I'm sure that Yuktahar, the topic itself is quite interesting. And last time we saw very briefly, because it's a topic that can just go on, and we saw just highlights of how we are, what are the different types of personalities that we are, the body types, and also food being in line with body types. So today, like as the topic suggests, that it is seasonal, to do with seasons and food. So I'm sure that this must sound either vague or too familiar. These are the two extremes when we look at this particular topic. Either we know that we know, oh, what's there to know about it, seasons and body? Or is it like, oh, seasons and body? Is there any connection? So let's take this a little further. Just for all of us, we had spoken earlier of Yuktahara. And at that time, I did tell you that when we are talking of good health or swastha, we said that it is samyak ahar, samyak vihar, and samyak vichar. And Gitanjali ji to summarize that for us very briefly here at the start. Now, taking it further, when we are looking at Yuktahara, most of us are aware that this is a shloka from the Bhagavad Gita. I didn't want to make it too elaborate and too Sanskritized last time, and therefore I didn't recite the entire shlok for all of us, but just a step forward that this is a beautiful verse from the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And those of us who have read the Bhagavad Gita may have encountered this shloka there. So you might be surprised that a text which dwells in philosophy is also talking about food. So, well, the thought there is very simple. I'll just recite the shlok for those of us. Yuktahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnavabodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkhaha. So here it simply means that a person who has good ahar, that is good nutrition, whose vihar, that is his activities and functioning of his activities is fine. The one who strives towards good karma, towards good action, and he who awakes and sleeps at the right time, such a person will see that his sorrows will just vanish, they will disappear. Dukkhaha, that means this entire thing tells you about good living, and a person who follows good living is one who is free from sorrows. So this is the origin of this thought, Yuktahara, which I like to take the first part and delve on it. Now, coming to this bit, which is the seasons, I'm sure that today when we think of seasons, we think it is all so muffled. Suddenly it's raining, whichever part of the world or country or state we are in, we do see that the climate is all messed up. But there has been a very, very deep thought and a connection. Since we are, what we say, we are a part of the cosmos. And we say this, yat brahmande tat pinde. Brahmanda is the entire cosmos, entire creation. And pinda is we are just one amongst that. So whatever is in the cosmos is within us also. And likewise, that is we are a reflection of what is around us. Now, if we are talking of seasons that are there in wherever we live, then our body is a reflection of those seasons. Let us see how. So when we are talking about winter, let's talk about the season now. Wherever we are in our country, we are experiencing some sort of weather which is cool. I wouldn't say the extreme that you can experience in like Jammu and Kashmir, or I'm not talking of, the slightest, just a hint of winter or coolness that we see, cold, a feeling of being cool here in Mumbai. So with these two extremes, nevertheless, overall, you see that it is a season of winter that we are seeing. In our traditional understanding, we know that there are 6 seasons. And we know that we have Vasanta, Grishma, then you have Sharad, Hemanta, Shishir, and what did I miss? Sharad, Hemant, Shishir. Yeah, okay. So all these seasons are there. And we are currently experiencing, or we can say that when we look at this entire seasonal cycle of 6 seasons, each of them approximately like 2 months, and therefore you have these 12 months of the year. Now, somewhere we see a lot of overlap, and this overlap is what kind of can confuse us. But if we just understand very briefly what is it about the seasons and what happens to our body during the seasons, we will understand this a bit more. I'm sure you noticed that when it is cooler, post Diwali, you see that you have right from Diwali rather, you feel that, okay, we can afford to have little heavier food, and the food can contain a little bit of fried stuff and ghee and oil, and you feel okay eating it. But had you to eat the same snacks that you eat during Diwali, during the summers, would it be possible? Today, we are slowly making ourselves, like allowing us to eat whatever we like throughout the year. But is it really sensible? No, it isn't. Because the foods that have been designed, or our body has been designed in such a way that it can eat certain things at certain times, and it will be best digested during that. So when we spoke last time about Kapha, Vata and Pitta, again, we see this, that in seasons also there is a transition of Kapha, Vata and Pitta. Let us go back to the times that was COVID times, because I think many of us connect to COVID times very easily these days. And also at that time, if you remember, there were even announcements made even by the Prime Minister saying, use spices and things like that. Where did all this come from all of a sudden? So it is just that when we are looking at the winters, there is an accumulation of mucus in the body, phlegm, kapha in the body. And this is what needs to change. We need to be able to function with this kapha in there. And that is the reason the kind of foods that we eat during this time is something very specific to breaking this kapha, to digesting this kapha. You see that in the rainy season, there is a lot of vata, that is, you feel a lot of flatulence at that time. And at that time, you don't feel like eating very heavy fried like ghee foods and all laddus and other things. We eat lighter foods at that time. We normally do because we have been following some of our traditional systems. So whatever it is what is outside is inside of us. Let us look at winters. And winters, we have a lot of uses of mucus. We spoke about this last time also, but just for you to, just to recap, one, it is a mucus is not just the phlegm that you see in your nose and other things which you associate with, but it is the function of mucus is all over in different parts of the body, and it is formed, it is present there in different forms, in different viscosity. One, it is like, it also functions as a shock absorber. It functions as giving nutrient, but we are talking of this state where there are imbalances. And it is these imbalances that are required for proper functioning also to some extent. But when it goes to the extent, you will see that it needs to be corrected with proper diet, with proper medicine. So now when we are looking at the season, which is, look at it as common word winter, you will see that in this Shishira Rutu, which is currently the Rutu that we are experiencing, the season that we are experiencing, you see outside things are dry, right? You can see the trees have shed their leaves. They are almost just standing on the, I mean, they're just standing there almost leafless, what we refer to as patijhad. So here we can see that everything is dry around us. Can you see that often you will see that there is a lot of dust allergy. People are experiencing dust allergies. Why? Because the dust is in the air. You can see that when you look at the AQI, or that is the quality index of the air that we, in the city that we live in, you will see that it has a lot of suspended particles, it has a lot of dust. So you will see that this dryness is impacting everything. Now take a look at your skin. Don't you feel your skin from the exterior also drying up, chapping of the lips? You see drying of the skin. We apply moisturizers and oils and creams. You can see from within. When you inhale also, sometimes you will see that the lining of your nostrils is quite dry. It sometimes, gives you a burning sensation because there is dryness in the nostrils. You will see the eyes. If you look in normally your eyes, I'm not saying that they are teary, but you will see there is a wettish feeling, that is a liquid kind of feeling in your eye. But when you see in the winters, you will see the dryness of the eye increases. So this dryness, which is outside, which is in the season, in our surroundings due to the seasonal changes, is within as well. Now, if you look at it during, you will see the same thing you experience in summers as well. As it goes on, further drying, you will see the need for your body to drink a lot of fluids. Don't we normally have a tendency to drink plenty of fluids, water, maybe buttermilk or juices, fresh juices during that time? Why is it so? Because it is so outside. So whatever is the season, your body is reacting to it. But unfortunately today, many of us have stopped listening to the response of our body. We don't even realize that the body is talking to us. This might sound familiar because I said something like this even last time. And this is one of the needs, that we be able to connect with ourselves from within and also with our surroundings. So now what is it that we do? Take a look at, I'm connecting this overall, I'm not breaking it into parts as festival now and season now. Unless you look at it holistically, or rather put as a whole, you will not be, it would be difficult to comprehend why we do certain things and why is it that we should not do certain things. So I'm sure all of us have celebrated Lodi, Makar Sankrant and Pongal and any of these, all the same kind of a festival by different names across the country in some form or the other, wherever we have all joined from. And you will realize that there is a typical kind of food that we eat during that time. Why do we do so? Like I said, because there is a whole lot of dryness on our skin, you need a lot of what we say as rukshata. Rukshata is dryness. And to break this rukshata or dryness, you need to have what we speak of as sneha. Now, sneha, you will see sneha in Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati, all of us know means affection. So love and affection, but we are talking of sneha as in oiliness. That is, there is supposed to be something that will lubricate linings. Now you can take a look at this example, simple thing. Many of us buy moisturizers, you buy them as water-based gel ones, and you buy them as oil-based cream ones, right? Why do you have these types? Because the need of the body is actually, there is supposed to be something which is watery, and there is something which is required, which is to have the oily or the creamy texture, not just the texture, but the content. And what we require in this season is lubrication, but not of the watery type. We need lubrication now of the type that is oil based, and that is why we need sneha. Sneha means oil, or snigdhata. Snigdhata is oiliness. So I'm sure you may have, if you go back to your times of your grandmother, or if this generation of youngsters is here, then the time of your great grandmother, you will see this is the time we ate a bhakri made of bajra, and you had sesame seeds on it. Now, what's the connection? Why have bajra? And if you see undio, in undio also you will see that there is til which is added. You will see across the country til oil is used. You will see, you eat til laddus. You will see suddenly that the number of seeds that we are consuming should increase. If it's not increasing, it should increase. So when you have these chikkis, or you can, when you make them of nuts, in that you see that you're adding quite a few of these nuts, which are, of course, they have oil content, and that is the reason why we are adding nuts. Then it can be walnut, depending on where you are living, I mean, what is grown locally. It could be groundnut, it could be sesame, it could be coconut, dry coconut, so that you can, get that oiliness there. So all these things are necessary, because the body from within needs a whole lot of sneha, needs a whole lot of oiliness. And therefore you will see that, let's take an example of Bajra Roti with this sesame seeds. Now, Bajra is one such cereal, which I'm sure many of you know, is a complex carbohydrate. Okay, if you're looking at it in terms of biochemistry and science, then it's a complex carbohydrate, which is, and it's a very whole food, because Bajra contains a good amount of protein also, as against the other complex carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates have a high amount of fiber. The gluten, or rather you will see the GI, glycemic index, is low. What do I mean by glycemic index? Glycemic index is the amount at which that particular carbohydrate, when you consume it, will start releasing sugar. So if you see rice, you will see, or if you see maida, that is refined flour has a very low glycemic index, which means to say that after consuming something made from maida, you will suddenly see a spike in the glucose levels or the sugar levels in the blood. And as it spikes quickly, it comes down also quickly. And therefore, having eaten something like that, you will want to eat something more, even white bread for that instance. So you will see that when you are eating all this refined flour or simple carbohydrates, the sugar levels will spike. Now coming to Bajra, Bajra is a cereal. It is a complex carbohydrate. And I would say that in terms of millets, it's a millet. It is one of the best types of millets, good for this season. You will see that it contains good amount of protein as well, which prevents the glycemic index from spiking. But we need to remember that Bajra also contains good amount of fats. And that is why we normally do not, I mean, we apply til seeds, but we do not normally put lots of ghee on the Bajra roti. Because, or if you are the type who needs to put on some amount of weight, healthy weight, then in that case, yes. But otherwise, Bajra does contain a good amount of fat as well. So it's a whole meal. So you make Bajra khichdi, you can make Bajra roti. Now, why add sesame seeds to it? Now, sesame seeds are necessary because sesame contains a good amount of oil. We say this in Marathi, एक तीळ 7 जणांमध्ये वाटून खातात. Now, it means that you take one til seed and you can divide it among 7 people and eat. Okay. Now, what does this mean? Does it mean that, I mean, this is to show that, okay, there's so much affection that whatever, even the smallest grain you can, give others. But look at it scientifically, that it contains so much or good amount of nutrition that just one til seed is so packed with nutrition that it can be divided amongst 7 people. That means so many people can get good enough nutrition just from one til seed. That's why we use it sparingly. We use it now. If you look at wherever you come from in the country, you use it in some form or the other. Look at Gujarat. We use the tadka on the dhoklas and all those preparations. We add sesame in it. If you're making theplas, you do put sesame in it. If you're making bhakri, we do. When you use the sabzi that you make during on the day Bhogi, the day prior to Sankranti, Makar Sankranti, there you use this. So you will see that in this season, we are using quite a bit of this. The reason is to provide our body this amount of sneha, to provide that amount of fat. We also see it is during the season that we apply sesame oil. So sesame or any oil on the body, we rub the body with oil. I'm not mixing the two, but I want you to understand that there are certain parts, rituals, which are a part of our festivals that we do is also connected to nutrition. And nutrition is not just what you put across from your mouth. Nutrition is what you put in through your thoughts. Nutrition is what you're putting in onto your body, applying. So this is it's a lifestyle thing. It's not just about popping something in your mouth. So when we talk of Yuktahara, for me, when I look at Yuktahara, it is not about just eating. It is about consuming whatever from our surrounding, be it thought, be it the impact of environment, and be it food. So that is why we said Samyak Ahar, Vihar, and Vichar. All of this combined is what is Yuktahara, which will contribute to Yuktahara. Now, when we are looking at let's take a look at the season when we are in rainy season. During rainy season, yes, sarso oil, anything which is oil based will have the same thing. It's just that why do we use sarso? Why do we use til? Why do we use coconut in specific regions? Because that is what grows locally. So this today we are talking of being vocal for local, but being vocal for local has been our traditional concept, because every time you will see that what is grown. Now, if you look at the coastal line, if you look from Maharashtra downwards down to Kerala, you will see coconut is used abundantly. Why? Because that is what is grown easily. You're not going to go there hunting for your daily meal for, let's say, mustard. But mustard grows abundantly in the north. It grows there, you use mustard oil. Why? Because that's what grows there. And that is, your body is suited to that climate. Why does mustard grow there? Why does it not grow maybe in other places? Today we do try to cultivate everything everywhere, but traditionally you will see that certain soil, certain the environment is conducive to that, because that is what is required. So it's a complete thing. It's a very complete, or a whole kind of a thought that we need to, a whole thought process that we need to adopt to understand this completely. It's not a piecemeal, okay, what should I eat? Now you just say, okay, tell me what should I eat for this, what should I eat for that. If you ask me this, I will ask you, where do you come from? I will ask you, what do you traditionally eat? What is cooked in your home? What has been cooked? What has been eaten by your grandparents? Why would I ask you all this? It's because of these multiple reasons that your body is accustomed, your DNA is accustomed, like we said last time, is satmya, okasatmya to certain things. And that is how your body, how you connect to that food. Now let's come to I'll answer the questions that are coming wherever connected directly, and wherever otherwise I'll take it as we move ahead. Now, if you look at the rainy season, okay, we'll come to Vasanta Rutu. That's the next one, which is anyway going to come now from March and all. You will see that we'll be stepping into Vasanta Rutu, where you will see the cold comes down. But what is accumulated in your body by the time? Kapha or mucus has been accumulated. Now that's not going to spike, but it needs to be broken down and get it off out of your system, right? So what do we do now during this time? We have spices like pepper. We use, I'm sure you all have, those who come from South would see that they use different types of rasam at different times of season, in different seasons. Why do we have this rasam and these foods which are spiked with pepper? Or you use clove, you use ginger, you use garlic. Why do we use these spices? Because these spices break mucus. Okay, some of these spices will cause mucus, some of them will break. In this case, you will see many spices are mucus cutters. Kapha, they break kapha. And that is the reason why you may remember, if when you were a child, sometime when you had cough, ajwain, you would, just your grandmother or mother would put ajwain in a little small hanky and make a potli out of it, heat it on the tawa, on the girdle, and then, just place it around the chest and throat and these regions, and maybe around your nostril, the sinuses, so that it will liquefy the mucus that is accumulated, and it can be thrown out of the body. So ajwain is also one such mucus cutter. So you will see that we eat these spices during these seasons. We eat soups with these spices, if that's because of this reason. Now with jaggery, okay, someone's constantly asking me about jaggery. Now let me answer this. with jaggery, when we saw, even with till, when we are having the laddus and all, we use jaggery. So remember that jaggery, I will never say this about sugar that eat it every day, but jaggery, yes, small quantities can be eaten every day. You will also see, you will see that whenever you want to have high protein stuff, you need to have a good amount of carbohydrate so that that protein absorption takes place. Today we have all these fads of eating protein powders just like that, left, right, and center. But look at our traditional balanced meals. You had rice and dal. You had sabzi and chapati. You have idli and sambar and or chutney and or chutney. So you have dhokla with chutney. Why are you balancing these? Because where you want to have a high carbohydrate content, you need the protein so that the carbohydrate will not cause that sugar to spike. I mean, the sugar released from the carbohydrate will not spike because protein will hold it. And you can't have only protein, because when you need to have, I'm sorry, there's a little tadka that has happened at my place, and therefore the cough. So kindly just apologize that disturbance. And when you're having protein, high rich protein food, you will always see there is some carbohydrate to go with it. Look at Puran Puri. Okay, Puran Puri, I'm sure we have it in forms, ubatti, or bog, we call it by different names in different places. So why do we have that? Again, you will see there is wheat covering. Depending on which state you come from, you may have some other covering to it. And inside you have chana dal, that is your chickpeas with jaggery, or it might be masoor dal with jaggery, it may be tur dal with jaggery, it may be moong dal with jaggery. So we are balancing all these to make the food digestible. Remember that when we add anything to any kind of a food in our Indian tradition, it is not garnishing. I said this last time also, I'm reiterating it so that you understand the combination of the food. So the combination is always to help make it digestible. If we are adding certain ingredients which are going to cause the vata to increase, then you will have certain counter ingredients which will prevent that. Let's take the simple example of dahi, because I spoke very, when it comes to dahi, I'll say don't have it every day, left, right, and center. Your body, there's a lot of water accumulation which will happen. It is abhishanti. But when you're having dahi, we add pepper to it. If you had that dahi vada, I told you last time also that you would add peppercorn, or you would add coconut, you would add tadka, you will add something, you will add the spice so that it will break the negative impact of the dahi on your body. So these are added with a specific purpose, and today we try to do these shortcuts, minus them. That's not done. Yes, what you can do is to balance it. You may make it easier for you, the preparation easier for you, by maybe powdering your spices and things like that, but never skip them from the traditional recipe, because that is what is making it digestible. Okay, now, so jaggery, when you have these til, chikki and other things, you need the carbohydrate there as well, right? So good is taking care of that. So have good in this season, yes, but remember one thing, not have sugar much in this season, because you get chikkis made of sugar also. Excess of sugar, excess of sweet, madhur rasa, will cause kapha to increase. And that is why you will see, if you go to a good doctor or a vaidya, he will tell you, when you have cold and all, he'll say, limit the amount of sugar that you can take in, because sugar will always cause more kapha to be produced and also to get accumulated. That's the reason we avoid sweets, eating too many sweets. And remember, can you have in this season, festivals are designed in such a way to have it, right? Your til chikki or your til laddu is designed to have it with jaggery, which means you are expected to have it with jaggery, provided you are not suffering from any specific ailment. Also, look at the size of til laddu. Do you have til laddu the size of besan laddu? No. Do you have til laddu the size of rava laddu? No. You have til laddu the size which is this much, which is the size of a marble, a small marble. Why? Conjuice. No. It's simply because if you have excess of til, you will start getting constipation. Okay, if you have excess of til, it can, somebody asked me a question of cholesterol and other things. So you are not loading yourself, but you're giving it just as much as required. When you look at our traditional food habits, you will see that they are not just quality, they are also portion controlled. The way we make them, the size that we make it in, and the amount in which we eat. Okay, whatever it is. Now, when it comes to even non-vegetarian food, even there, what is prescribed is just a small bit that you're supposed to eat if anyone is eating. Not have loads and loads of it, one plate full eaten by one person. No, it's just a small piece so that you get that nourishment. Food is eaten for nourishing the body. We don't live to eat, we eat to live. But we have messed up these and we said, oh, I love to eat. I will eat and eat and eat till I die. Yes, if you overeat, you will die untimely. So we have to know that we have to eat our food like medicine. Otherwise, one day we'll be eating our medicine like food. Okay, so coming back to the festival. Now, when we move on to Vasanta, you will see that again, Holi comes during this time. Can you see what are the practices that we follow during Holi? You will see that it's harvest time. Obviously, you have harvested the food, so you will eat that food which is harvested, right? But at the same time, what you harvest in terms of grains and all, you store them till for another 6 months, so that the water content, which is very high in new foods, okay, new grains, that is not consumed. So what I'm trying to tell you is connecting this to the season also. Once it's harvested, you will see that after rainy season is over, we start using that grain, because about 6 to 8 months is required for the water moisture content of the grain to reduce. Otherwise, if you eat new grain, you start putting on weight. You will put on, there'll be a lot of water accumulation. Why? Remember we said, whatever is the nature of the food is going to be what you are going to get. So if the fresh grain contains high amount of moisture, what's the body going to continue to get? Higher amount of water. This water will get retained. And when water is retained, where water, gets accumulated, sab gadbad ho jata hai. We say this in Marathi, jithe pani murta, tithe gadbad aste. Okay. Wherever water accumulates, just like that, there will be gadbad. Stagnant water, disease, cause of disease, right? So look at it very logically. This all fits in. So that is the reason newly harvested grain is not consumed like that. We continue to use old grain. Also, when some of us, people who are suffering from thyroid, people who are suffering from diabetes, people who are suffering from ailment which causes weight to increase, you will generally see, you will be advised to eat old grain. And you might think, what is this crazy old grain, new grain? This generation probably doesn't understand the difference between old and new grain. But those of us who have come from traditional homes, or who have really understood the, what our grandmother would say, no, don't use this rice now, use only this. Now you'll say, oh, we just buy the rice. How do we know whether it's old or new? That's why you'll see in our traditional systems, there would be one place where old rice, old grain would be kept for daily use, and new grain would be stored in airtight compartments. Nobody would go there, dark rooms, and you would take them out only after 6 to 8 months. But now we don't know whether we are having new or old grain, but generally you will see from the appearance and from the texture also, old grain is more, like there is a powdery touch to it, not because of something which is applied, and there's a dryness to its texture as again, and the glaze, that also. Again, now you'll say the glaze comes out of polish, so how do we know? Sometimes when you eat a little, you realize you feel heavy. Remember that that same thing that you were eating, the same rice that you ate earlier, didn't make you feel heavy. If you've been cooking the same way, is because of the moisture content. Moisture content will always make you feel heavy. On the food will make you feel heavy. And also you will see a lot of puffiness comes, water retention in your body increases. So you will see swollen water retention in terms of at the joints, sometimes along the face, along the chin here, which is not fat, but maybe just water retention. And that is why some people who suddenly, when they go on weight, weight reduction programs, they suddenly lose a lot of weight. It's not fat you're losing, it's the water that is stored in the body that you're losing. Okay, I'm not mixing this up and just telling you, giving you these little pointers, so that, when you connect it to what you're eating, the changes that you see in your body, you should be able to understand why this is happening. Yes, Gitanjali ji, you raised your hand. You want to say something?
Yeah, at this point, I'd like to take on Apurva's question, who said that is Bajra all right for thyroid related issues?
Yes, you can eat. Yes, you can eat. Yes. Bajra can be eaten. In fact, when it comes, so I know there are, last time also there were quite a few questions on thyroid, and I think one or two I also answered. Generally have things like cucumber, water, but not too much of it. You should have everything in moderation. Eat foods that are light generally. See, remember with any of the bajra, ragi, that is nachni, jwari, you will see that one of the common things amongst all is that they have a lower glycemic index. You will see in terms of calories, they are almost the same. One roti, normal medium-sized roti will give you around, range is around 110 to 112, 100 to 115, 120 calories. Okay, but what I want you to understand is that when you are having any tendency to put on weight, you will you would prefer to eat bajra or to eat ragi. as against eating jwari, where you want to put on a healthy weight, or you want to feel, you're feeling drained out and not getting nourishment, then you would want to prefer to have jwari. Again, nachni is referred to in our traditional text as avaradhanya or kudhanya. Okay, never mix two millets. Never mix two millets. Bajra, nachni, jwari, never mix them. Okay, when it is a particular type, eat one millet a day. Okay, so when you are eating one millet, suppose today in the morning I've eaten nachni, then in the evening you want to eat nachni. Don't eat bajri in the evening. Don't mix two millets. Please don't confuse rice, wheat, and millets. Okay, millets are different from rice and wheat. Most of us do not understand what millets are. So rice, wheat, they all come in the same category of trinadhanya, graminaceae, family graminaceae, but they are different. You will see that rice, wheat are the cereal, they come under cereal. Maize comes under the cereal, but under millets, you have higher millets and the lower millets. So ragi comes under lower millet. Jwari, bajri comes under higher, on the bigger millets. Smaller millets are kodo, kutki, nachni, that is your ragi. Then amaranth is not a millet. Most people confuse amaranth to be a millet. Amaranth is not a millet. So you can mix amaranth. Amaranth is your rajgira, those of us who don't know. You can eat rajgira chapati. You can mix rajgira with some millet if you like, because rajgira is not a millet. However, most people don't know these differences. They kind of mix everything. We have across our country a wide range of millets. Some of them are not available now because we stopped growing them. People stopped growing them. People stopped consuming. The supply-demand cycle changed and we have stopped it. Let's come back to our topic. Because of these questions, intermittently, I'm shifting from here to there. But please understand that they are all linked. So when you are eating your bajra during a festival, bajre ki roti, sarso ka saag, so that is what grows. Just a moment.
Some of them want to know about the recordings being shared. So the links to the group where the recordings will be shared will be added towards the end of the session. So please join that, and also the YouTube. Sorry, Ruchita ji. Yeah.
No worries. So now let's come to when we move into the season. As we move ahead with the season, you will see the use of spices is more, right? Like I said in Vasant, you want to break the fat. Therefore, we are using spices. So you see these rasams, the soups that we have. You will see that when you are eating your Puran Puri, sometimes you will see the Puran Puri is eaten with katachi amti in Maharashtra. Sometimes there is a spicy chutney that is used over there. And this contains the spices so that the ill effects of that Puran Puri, which could happen, are broken down. Now, I'm not trying to tell you that eating a particular food is bad. I'm just trying to tell you why the combination is in such a way so that, you eat the combination. Sometimes we just say, no, I don't want to put on weight. I shall not have ghee with the Puran Puri. But you have to have the ghee with the Puran Puri, or you have milk with the Puran Puri, or you have that katachi amti with the Puran Puri, or some chutney with it. And it's across, wherever they make it, they have that combination, which is very scientific. Now, when you are eating chana or any of the protein that is through your protein, I'm just saying this word because some people connect better to it, while I would refer to chana, dal, all these pulses that are there, chana, tur, moong, which are used for the filling. Okay, so that is combined, that the amount, you will see the proportion also when we actually make it. Those of you know the traditional way of making it, that puran, which we fill, the stuffing that we fill, the size of it is 2 times the size of the carbohydrate chapati, the wheat or the maida that we use generally for stuffing it in. It is the protein part is twice the size. And so the reason behind it is this, that the amount of protein that goes into will help that carbohydrate to digest, which is otherwise going to be heavy now, because you're going to have sugar also with it, with the puran, that in form of jaggery. You're going to have the covering, which is again a carbohydrate, either rice or wheat, maida, whichever that you're using. Again, and at the same time, when you consume it, you will have ghee and other things. So you want to balance it. That is why the stuffing, the size of the ball, it's not just to make it tasty. Okay. I keep saying, it's not the tasty part that is there, but it is the scientific part that is there, the nourishment that your body should get. Because this Puran Puri is the only thing that is eaten during that time. At that time, you don't eat, and some vegetable, of course. You do not normally eat all other things like rice, dal, chapati, bhaji, and Puran Puri. During those times, it's just that is eaten. I mean, wherever you come from, traditionally, what is made at that time. let's move a little lower into now, stepping into the Grishma, into the summer. You will see that the tendency of the body, is to have foods which are light, because your Agni, the digestive fire, is, is weak. You cannot load it with fried stuff. You do not load it with oily stuff. So during that time, what we generally eat is moong. You may have had moong khichdi. Summers we eat light food generally. Light as in, there are two ways of looking at light, because when you look at it in terms of Ayurveda, you have different characteristics of food. That which is heavy to digest and light to digest, heavy in weight and light in weight. So the heaviness and lightness comes in two ways, digestibility as well as in terms of the lightness of food. So we eat moong, matki, rice. These are things that are generally eaten. Can someone just turn their audio off? There's a disturbance that's coming in between. Thank you. So you see that as we move into the summers, we generally, you will see that you prefer to have fluids. One, why do you tend to have the fluids? Because it's dry outside, the body is getting dry from within. Now it's not oiliness that you require. Are you getting the difference? In the winter, we were eating foods, nuts, and things that were oily, the seeds that were oily. The body needed oil. But now, as we move towards summer, the body needs the water content more. Therefore, you have juices, buttermilk, lemon juice, okay, not the packed juices. Again, with fresh juices also, the kind of juices that we have, think about it. Traditionally, we don't have fruit juices. You will see that there is a lime. One lime is squeezed into plenty of water. Okay, if you take kokum sharbat, you have that fluid, little bit of it that you add the kokum, the Garcinia, that is the which is soaked, and then you mix it in water and you drink that water. We do not make pulp of fruits, 3 fruits into one glass of, or 4 fruits into one glass of juice. If you remember last time I said, as long as you have teeth, no juices, because you would eat 1 fruit at a time, but for making a glass of juice, you would have 3 or 4 of that particular fruit, right? Or if at all you need to drink a fresh fruit juice, it should be not more than 100 to 150 ml, not your tall multi, what are those jumbo glasses, okay? That you have only this 100 ml juice. So when you need to eat a fruit juice, drink or consume a fruit juice, it should be 100 to 150 ml, not 200 ml, not your glass full. Okay, I know some of this might be very radical thoughts for some of us who are like, oh, what is she talking? But yes, if you understand, you will never overload yourself with sugar of any type if you have it in quantity, in a small quantity. We cannot have glassfuls and the full portion of something. Then it's where we mess up with our system. So you will see that in summers, now generally when we move towards the summers, it's the fluids. You will have kokum sar, those fluid kind of those kadis and all, which are light. What do you have? This dahi ka kadi that you have. Then you have thin coconut milk. Okay, these are very light to digest. They go well with the system, and they are not. They are always. They will always have some tempering tadka. This tadka will help it become digestible, because otherwise that coconut might be heavy to digest, coconut milk. So to avoid that, we add tadka to the food. So this is how we move. Now moving further, when you go to the rainy season, that's when your body, your digestive fire is just mild, therefore you have more steamed foods. Look at the Ganpati festival that comes during this time. Look at the um, um, Raksha Bandhan and your Janmashtami, which come during this time. You will see the kind of foods that you're eating at that time are lighter, which will break the acidity, because there has been pitta sanchay in the previous time. So this pitta needs to be broken, or accumulation has to be avoided. Therefore, we are going to be, you will see that in this season, your foods are light. Take this example of I don't know, maybe some of you may have seen the video that I did on your Janmashtami about the foods that are eaten during that time. You will see that we make dahi kala at that time, right? Dahi kala, you use poha and dahi, you mix it together. Normally, we would say not to eat dahi, but at this time it is eaten because the acidity, dahi is heavy to digest. Now, for those of you who have this misconception about dahi being light and we can have it every day, dahi should not be had every day. Dahi should not be had in every season. Okay, you should have dahi in moderation. And always when you have dahi, there has to be something which you combine with that dahi to moderate it. Okay, there are certain things that you can combine with it. Always, therefore, you see khichdi, when you have moong khichdi, we use dahi. Why? because dahi can be had, dahi should be had to reduce its water retaining qualities. Dahi should be had with either moong or a little bit of ghee, or you can have it with amla. Okay, so you have this with a little bit of sugar. When you say sugar, it is mishri, that khadi sakhar. Okay, khadi sakhar. Do you know that? That is your rock sugar. Rock sugar. We don't have it with the sugar that we castor sugar or not. It will make it heavier. And mucus absorption or retention occurs because of this combination. Therefore, dahi sugar should not be had. Dahi with pepper you can have. So when you make this dahi kala during Janmashtami, there is poha in it, there is dahi in it, you add pepper, you add some kakdi and certain things in it. These are the ones which will actually reduce the acid that is formed. Therefore, we have this. And again, it is had in small. You don't have a bowl full, like, a big bowl full of it. What we have is these, and that is why it is given generally as prasad. Okay, during the festivities, when you eat, you're not to overload yourself with it. It is given to you as prasad. And prasad, you normally have it in just a small quantity, right? Not so much that it is going to cause the ill effect of it will be seen. So it's very important to have the portion controlled on it, not a bowl full, a small, maybe vati, choti, katori, small one, okay, not full, but about 3/4 of it. That is, portion is most important. Again, you see that modak and all that you make it steamed. Why do you steam it? Because that steamed is easier to digest as against fried. Okay. In some places, they do make fried modak, but at that time, the stuffing is of puran, of that jaggery and chana dal, or just like you make Puran Puri, and it is done in a different season. Okay, so you will see that the foods that you have are, now if you go to the south they make tattai, or they make chide, these kind of foods, or they make laddus. Again, you will see that this is that which will go with that particular season. In rainy season, you have a tendency to eat bhajiyas, right? Okay, the tendency is to eat bhajiyas. You want to eat bhajiyas and chai. Now, at that time, actually, your digestive fire is not really at its best. So 3 seasons where the digestive fire is at the best is the winter seasons. Okay, once you move down, winter is the time where your digestive fire is at the best, and that's why you can exercise and you can also put on weight. Now, but this season is where the digestive fire is not very, very strong. Therefore, a little bit in a while, but the body needs a little bit of oiliness. The body needs a little water. Not water, but oiliness here. So therefore, we have a little bit of fried stuff, but the portions are very, very less. So once in a way, not once every day. Okay, so that's when it comes to the rainy season. The body is now there is a lot of water around us. Therefore, you will see water and earth, kichad, muck, water and earth is kichad. And that water and earth in our body is nothing but pitta. Okay, because you will see combinations of all these things that are there. So the natural, whatever are the elements in nature is exactly what we are made of, right? So you will see vata. Vata is air. So air and space, empty, that is space, void. Void and air is the time that you will have this. Okay. Now, someone who has asked me what is the best time to have Satu. You have to explain me what Satu is in your terms, because in different regions, Satu is different. In some places, the chana dal is referred to as Satu. In some places, barley, the grain, is referred to as Satu. So you will have to explain. And also in the north, there is Satu, which is a preparation. So you will have to tell me where you come from. See, I told you, I would not answer this question on a general, because this one word can have different connotations to people from different regions. So I'd be giving wrong information if I were to, answer that question as a, right, dry chana powder. So this is when you are having, remember that chana can increase vata. Okay, vata. So when is the time that vata is going to be high? During summers. So that time we don't have it. Okay, you don't have it. Chana for some can also cause acid accumulation. Okay, acidity. So when pitta is high, we don't have it. That is the reason in rainy seasons you will not have. So good time to have this is in winter. If you notice harbara, the chana plant, that fresh harbara that you get, fresh chana you get, also is in this season. It's in the winter season that it grows, and you harvest this during the season. So this is a good time to have. Good time to have it, right? That is why you will see even Puran Puri is made of this chana, right? Chana dal. So that's the time, Vasanta, winter and Vasanta, spring are good times to have this. So up to March. Once the heat starts, you can avoid. April onwards, we can avoid having that. Of course, when we do have this chana in form of legumes, etc., but then at that time, we soak them, we sprout them, and we cook them, boil them, and then we have them in moderation along with spices like ginger, etc., which will prepare flatulence. Okay. But then you have it with jaggery, right? When you consume sattu in summer, it is consumed with jaggery. So the combination there works. And that is early summers. It will not be the heavy dense summers. It will be close to the end of springtime, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, if you are having it around the time that Holi is over, and a little after Holi, another 15-20 days after Holi, whole of summer you may not be having it. Yes, it's good for strength, and that is why you have it. You'll see the amount of chana powder that you add in that drink will be just a spoonful, as against the rest being the jaggery water or the spice water that you use. So the quantity that goes in is less. Remember, eating what at which time in what quantity is what makes the difference. Okay, so as we move on further to, I have only 7 minutes left, so I'm supposed to end this, but I have spoken about what you are eating in summer, in the rains, in the winter, and generally what we have said is the festivities that go with it take care of this. Now let's come to the Diwali time, because Diwali is that time where winter just sets in. Your body has the digestive fire to digest this, and the digestive fire will keep on getting strengthened in this season. That is why the body allows us and wants it to be heavier on the food that we eat. But remember that if you're not exercising, this is also the best time to exercise. Okay, most of us only look at the food part. Okay, you are allowed to eat lots of food during the season, but you forget the second line. You are supposed to exercise a lot in this season as well, and we skip on that, and that's when we tend to put on weight during the winters. The season is good for eating, but it's also a season where the body needs a lot of exercise to be done. Don't exercise too much. Heavy exercise in summer is supposed to be out. See, any of these sucralose, stevia, all these things are to be out. They are not to be had. Anything which is artificially prepared is not going to help you. Instead, you have a small bit of jaggery when you really have that craving, or have a date. Have a date if required, right? So if you have to have sweet, if you crave a sweet, have black raisin. Black raisin is good to keep your craving down. A single, just one date, uh, fruit date you can have, which is dried, not the fully dried one, the khajur. You can have that. Okay, that is good to keep it. Oh, stay away from sucralose, stevia, and all these things. Okay. So it is I'll just quickly go over the chat questions. If I missed something that I've not answered, let me go over that.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Meenakshi ji was asking what is the right food for ulcerative colitis and high cholesterol patients.
Okay. For anything to do with ulcers and colitis, you should not eat anything which is going to, further irritate the lining. So stay away from heavy spices. The chili-based spices, the capsicum or the capsaicin-based spices is what you could stay away from. Use things like jeera, dhania are good things to have. They are softer on the lining, and also they will not aggravate. You can also you can have ginger, soont and ginger are good. Garlic in very small, because garlic can sometimes cause the ulcer to get worse sometimes, but very little in moderation. Garlic in moderation, garlic and ginger in moderation, but use dhania and jeera more. They are the ones which will be good. You can have there was a thing about cholesterol. See, with cholesterol, remember that when there is a condition of the cholesterol being high, at that time you have to stay away from the fats, so that the cholesterol can be broken and get lowered with medication, exercise. Exercise is the best way to break cholesterol and triglyceride. Move every 30 minutes, move from your chair or wherever you are, walk around for 5 minutes or just move around. Triglyceride formation is abated, is prevented, and also helps to reduce cholesterol by moving, like triglycerides by walking around, moving, having physical activity. In terms of foods, the heavy nuts are to be avoided, but seeds, like the seeds like sesame and pumpkin seed, and these seeds are good to take care of it. I'll see the omega-3 fatty acid is good, because it will break that, it will increase the amount of HDL, that is high density lipoproteins, which is the good cholesterol. Okay, that was your question on the cholesterol and other. What is the next one?
There's another question by Amin that hair receives nutrition the last after the body consumes all nutrients. How do we fulfill all hair nutrients requirements?
See, the hair, nail, teeth, bone, all of these are in a category that that is the nourishment happens of the asthi nourishment. So that is, it's not about last or first. It is about what you will do normally also is going to affect it. It's not that it is going to get last. In fact, hair, nail, teeth, bones are a reflection of your internal health. So if your hair is dry, it means your system is dry from within, is ruksha. If your hair, nails are brittle, it means that your body is not receiving snake. That means there is some problem with the absorption of the right kind of fats or transport of the nutrient into in your body. That is what it means. So it's not just about what to do for it, is to take care of your internal health. There will be imbalances. One of the best way to remove the toxins from the body is to consume hot water. Hot water reduces, breaks ama and garvish are the toxins which are accumulated in the body, and they affect the absorption of other nutrients. So to break that, you need to use spices like jeera, use hot water, drink, every time you drink water, drink it hot, and that is the one that will help break the armor, the toxins which are also accumulated in the intracellular spaces. Like when there are two cells, I'm showing it magnified. If this is one cell and this is one, then the gaps between them is where the toxins, they come out, they accumulate, and they go also when the through the lymphatic system. That's when. So it's best to use hot water to break it. Use ginger. These are the things. But again, depending on your condition, if you are healthy and otherwise normal, you can follow this. Okay. Anything
The
else?
next question is, what's the right food for acidity and cycles-induced headaches? This is by Shweta. She says, due to acidity, I take curd regularly to feel better. Should I avoid curd?
Avoid it like you would avoid poison. When you have acidity, never ever eat curd. Never ever eat curd. Curd will increase, enhance the acidity, enhance pitta. You should not have it, because I'm sure you'll be having it just like that. Otherwise, also stay away from the curd. Curd is to be had only very little, once in a way, not every day. Buttermilk, yes, you can have that buttermilk also, which is prepared in a very particular manner, in a manner which is where you churn the buttermilk, not just whip it. Whipping and churning are different. You will see our traditional homes that have that ravi, the churner will have those like spikes over there. That is to break the molecule of the curd, not just a uniform thing. It has those curvy edges, is to break the molecule of curd completely, because when you break the molecule of curd, it is no more curd. Okay, it changes its property completely. It should be 20% of that and 80% of water. That is the way the buttermilk should be consumed, again with powder like dhania powder or jeera or some tadka, because it makes it digestible. You're not to just whip curd and then add buttermilk and say, I have buttermilk every day. That's not the way to have it. So curd is out, not to be had every day at all. Not to be had every day at all. Okay, and if you have acidity, then remember to eat foods that are light. Use moong. Moong is lighter compared to the others. Whole moong, sprout. This is what you can have. But avoid spices. Avoid this chili, ginger, garlic kind of spices. Avoid chana dal completely. Avoid bakery products fully. Avoid sugar, sweet. I mean, sweet you can have for acidity, but it is to be, but the jaggery, don't have the sweet as in bakery biscuit products. These will always, no fermented foods, that you can stay away from. In fact, the lightest things to eat, that in pitta, when there is acidity, it is good to eat bhakri made of jwari bhakri you can eat. Along with that, you can have what is that, leafy vegetables, that is good to eat. For the breakfast time, you can eat sprouts or something like that. Fruits which are fleshy, not watery. When you are having acidity anywhere where there is too much of water imbalance, don't eat fruits which are watery. No watermelon, no pumpkin, none of these. You will have fruits that are fleshy, like apple, pear, papaya. That is good. Yeah, gul bhakri, but then don't eat too much of gul. You can eat gul bhakri. Okay.
Great. I
I
think
think we
we are
are time up.
we're
Okay.
already at 9, and we have taken sessions, taken the questions quite generously. For the rest of the questions, please join the group. And health is always a cornerstone. Thank you so much, Ruchita ji, for being with us in Plan to Win and being a very, very participative expert member here. And every time we will get, this is a cornerstone, and we will get you really powerful sessions for health. But if you have any particular suggestions that you'd like, you are please free to contact any one of us and let us know what topics you'd like the expert speak sessions on, because this is all about serving our community. Plan to Win is a journey towards your greatness and our greatness by contribution and fulfillment. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, Ruchita ji. As always, you are phenomenal. The wealth of knowledge you have, and it's never ending. And I feel even more inquisitive now as you went to the depth of the curd and how you're breaking the molecules of the curd. This is like phenomenal. We always know from the periphery what things about, but as I can understand, you can do sessions on Sanskrit and many other topics. So we would be bringing you more such sessions, and for personal consultations, as Divakar ji has asked and other people have been requesting, we will certainly start a system where you can consult Ruchita ji in the near future, or our other experts through the Plan to Win channel as well. So please get in touch. And if you haven't yet joined the sessions, please do. There is another important announcement that we will be taking our final and last, creating the 2022 session for Sunday, on Sunday. But definitely all the free sessions have been over. We've been taking many of them. So for the same, get in touch with any of the super leaders here. Shalaka, would you just put in some numbers there? That'll be wonderful. And best is to join our WhatsApp group. You will come to know a whole lot. Thank you once again, everyone, for sparing your time on this Saturday morning, as always, for being amazing participative audiences and sharing. Thank you so much, Ruchita ji, for your time, your expertise, your knowledge. You're one of the most generous people I have spoken to. Thank you so much always. See you, everyone. I declare this session complete. Thank you. We will keep it on for 2 minutes for everyone to join the session, the WhatsApp group here. Thank you, Darshana, for posting. The link is given over here, the WhatsApp group. Please. Also, it would be very interesting to know from you, what is it that is bothering you? What is it that we can address? And if you have suggestions for expert speaks, please do let us know. We want to get only the relevant topics. Time is of critical essence to each one of us, and we are all interested in making the biggest and maximum impact to you and in our lives also. So thank you, everyone. We are now closing the session. Oh, wonderful. You wanted a session on spinal health. All right, great. We are noting this down. Please unmute if you want to, and we can break out into a quick participatory session.
Yes, I feel that, a whole lot of things that you are attempting to do. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, Apurva. Sure.
I would really recommend a session on spinal health. See, it will help with people who are meditating. It will also help those who are working on goal-related things where you want to, I'm talking about people who are really determined to reach a certain destination. So it is always very helpful when your spine is both straight and supple. So if there are certain things that can be done to stabilize it, to make it stronger, that would be very helpful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. That was a great suggestion. We wouldn't have dreamt of it. I assure you. Any other suggestion, please? Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. I'm declaring this session complete.